Hello, welcome to the daily stock market analysis. All right, my name is Lucky Johnson, and in this daily stock market analysis, we look at the top traders for the day, the top gainers, and of course, the losers as well. And then we analyze a few things, and of course, we're able to come up with, some things, some recommendations actually based on the analysis of the stocks for that week. So the last time we stopped at Friday 14th June 2024. Meanwhile, if you have not watched that video, I'm going to leave a link in the description of this video, so ensure that you watch the last stock market analysis for 1 week, and then I'm going to leave links to the other videos as well, so that you can also take your time to look at them. All right, so from 14th, which was Friday, we're supposed to start at 17th, but then there was a public holiday in Nigeria, if you remember, Monday and Tuesday. So the market actually opened at 19th June 2024, which is Wednesday. All right, so that's where our analysis is going to continue from. So let's look at the top traders, the top gainers, and of course the losers from this analysis. Now, because this particular analysis begins from Wednesday, which is just Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we are going to combine this particular week and then the following week to wrap up with the month of June, because we have a lot to cover. All right, so this is Wednesday, 19th June 2024. Yes, so remember, like I will always say, under the top traders, our concern is the volume of the amount of money that investors pumped into this company's stocks. Okay, we are not concerned about their percentage gain for that day, the performance for that day, or the year-to-date performance. So here we have Fidelity Bank, with 11 billion naira on Wednesday, yes, Wednesday 19th June 2024. And of course, let me quickly say something about this. Now, Fidelity Bank already had a plan to roll out their public offer, public offer and rights issue. And because of that, a lot of investors started pumping money in. And there were people who, in fact, do not really understand what primary public offer and the rights issue is all about. The moment they just hear news about the stock market, they start taking actions and all of that. So we have informed investors, as part of those who pumped money here. Then we also have people who just followed what other people were doing. All right, and of course, I also mentioned about the capitalization requirement by the CBN, on the commercial banks especially, and then of course many other banks generally, to raise their capital base, of course, for the commercial banks from 50 billion to 500 billion. And of course, many of them are on the run at the moment to raise that money. And at the point I was recording this particular video, many of them had already rolled out their public offer and rights issue. So know that it's part of the reasons why you see that a lot of the time the banks usually come up as maybe number 1, 2, or 3 among the top traders. And then here we have Geregu with 1 billion naira, and then we have MTN with 605 million naira. Then coming to gainers. Now for me, gainers is the major focus actually, because especially for those of us that are traders, we look at the performance of stocks over a period of time, and then to actually place our trade, take what you have to get from the profit at the moment, the increase in the value of the stock at the moment, and then you look for the next best performing stock, and then you jump in. All right, so this is University Press, and of course under gainers, we are not looking at the value, the volume they generated. No, the concern is the performance for that day, the performance. So University Press got 10% profit, and then Guinness got 9.96%, Champion got 9.83%. I remember, like I will always say, the fact that a company performs well on a particular day does not mean that the company stock is viable or will be viable for the next couple of weeks or months. You need to also look at the track record in the past 12 months, the year to date. So this is minus 14.74. So Guinness has lost 14.74% in the last 12 months. All right, but well, there are different sides to it, and I don't want to really go into those technicalities right here. So now we have Champion losing 16.49%. Okay, now let me quickly say something here. There are a set of stocks that I call evergreen stocks. I call them evergreen stocks. The reason why I call them evergreen stocks is because it doesn't matter what the situation may be at the moment, they will always rise and thrive. Okay, so evergreen stocks are stocks of companies that their services or products are always in demand. For instance, the banking sector in Nigeria and in any country, their services will always be in demand. It will be difficult to get to a point whereby 50% of the customers of any bank in Nigeria just decides to pack up from them and then move elsewhere, or like that. Things happen, I understand. But what I'm saying is that if the value of a bank's share goes down and probably they make loss, I can tell you that that point of loss can even be an opportunity for you to buy, because you are going to buy at a very low amount, because that's a dip. All right, and then when this bank begins to get patronage again, automatically you begin to rise. The value of your investment begins to rise as they rise. All right, now this I'm saying this with a disclaimer. I may not be in the shoes of a financial advisor to advise you, an expert to advise you, but I'm only sharing this as an insight that you may want to look into. All right, of course, with a disclaimer. Okay, so remember, evergreen stocks. The banking sector is one sector that when you invest in, you can be rest assured that in the next couple of years you are not necessarily going to make loss. How do I mean? You may not necessarily get a lot of profit, but you will be able to get, let's say, between 20% to 50% profit in a year. Okay, and I mean that's fair enough. But if you really want to make good returns within a short period of time, then you should consider other sectors apart from the banking sector. But I just needed to say that. So now we have the losers, VFD Group, losing. This is massive. 79.99% loss in just one day. This is really, really massive. See, that is why I always advise people, please get proper mentorship when you invest or you want to invest in stocks and shares, whether in Nigeria or US stocks. Ensure that you have a professional, an expert, at least somebody who has been there before you to guide you. Okay, and that is the service that I actually offer, of course, in my WhatsApp community, my investors WhatsApp community. All right, then we have Caverton with a loss of 9.62%, but they've been doing well, not exactly well, just 8.46% in the last 12 months. And then Associated Boss losing 9.52%. However, they've been doing well with 62.86%. All right, so let's go to Thursday so we can cover up a lot. There are a few recommendations that I really want to share with you. So this is Thursday, 20th June 2024. So we're going to run through this very quickly. Of course, First Bank Nigeria topping with 19 billion naira. Can you imagine that? Even though they made a loss on that particular day, First Bank has been doing well, considering this at this point in time, 37.30% in the last 12 months. Fidelity Bank losing 4.15%, and of course here with 48.57% in the last 12 months. The Stanbic IBTC raised 839 million naira, okay, after Fidelity with 2 billion naira, but then they've made loss of 1.79% in the last 12 months. All right, now we have Champion as number one on the top gainers here with 9.88%, but they've experienced loss in the last 12 months. And then we have Veritas Capital Assurance PLC, with 9.88%, and in the last 12 months they've had 323.81%. Amazing. And then we have Charms with 9.79%, and they've made capital gain, of course, of 384.09% in the last 12 months. And here we have Transcorp here. Of course, this is Transcorp Hotel, because there are different Transcorp. There's Transcorp Power, there's Transcorp Power, there's Transcorp Hotel, and then of course another one actually, but this is the Transcorp Hotel with a loss of 10% loss. Yeah, now Transcorp actually did extremely well as of 2023. Transcorp did about 1022.9% in the whole of 2023, but it's unfortunate that it's gradually declining. All right, that's why you must understand that investment in stocks and shares works with times and seasons. There will be a particular time when this industry thrives. Remember again, evergreen stocks are powerful. You may not make so much gain, but you will neither make loss. That's how it works. That's why you must balance your investment. I warn my students about greed and fear. Do not be afraid to take risk, especially when it comes to stocks that are promising. But then do not also be too greedy to pump all your money because you see that a particular stock is doing well in a particular season. Especially if you are not careful monitoring your investment, maybe on a daily or weekly basis. You may just wake up to realize, like we had VDF, you see VDF now, or VFD or so, in the last analysis we looked at, losing 79% in one day. That is a massive loss actually. So Transcorp Hotel did over 1,000% in 2023, but now it is declining. So if I were an investor who already made some money from Transcorp Hotel, I will start selling immediately I notice a decline. Yes, when I sell, I can hold my fund and wait for another opportunity to buy when it goes down. All right, or maybe just diversify into another industry. So this is Regency Alliance with 8.51%, and then we have Lasaco with a loss of 6.05%. Let's move further. So the last day in that particular week, which is Friday, 21st June 2024. Now I want to give you an assignment. Now this is what I tell my students to do. Pay attention to the stocks that are reoccurring, especially among the top gainers. Pay attention to the stocks that are reoccurring among the top gainers. It is a sign of viability, because I always say when we deal on this daily stock market analysis, I always make a statement that part of the secret of the future lies in the past. Part of the secret of the future lies in the past. This is very important. All right, if you want to really understand what I mean by that statement, maybe you should watch the other analysis video from the links in the description below. I don't want to stretch this video for too long. All right, and of course I believe you have been getting value from this analysis so far. If you have been getting value, why not smash on the subscribe button right now and then turn on the notification bell, so that when next I upload a video like this, of course the next daily stock market analysis video and any other valuable video that will help your finances, you'll be the first to actually get notified by YouTube. If you do not subscribe or turn on your notification bell, there is no way you will get notified. So you'll be doing yourself much good if you subscribe and turn on your notification bell at the moment. So this is the top gainers from here. Have we dealt with the top traders? Okay, First Bank again with 4 billion, and then GTB with 3 billion naira, and lastly we have Zenith Bank, on the third position. There are others actually, but this particular platform just likes to pick the first three. Maybe subsequently I'm going to show you another video where you can get up to 10, 20 top traders and all of that, especially top gainers. And now we have the gainers, Interbrew with 10%. However, the performance in the last 12 months has not been encouraging. A loss of 15.38%. And then we have Champs with 9.86%. And then in the last 12 months, they've done 387.50%. If you were observant enough, I believe you saw Champs in the last preview that we did. Yes, so this is a viable stock to actually look at. It is a viable stock to actually look at. Okay, and then we have Champion with 9.83% gain and then a loss of 6.46. Here we have Name topping the list of losers with a loss of 12.22%, and Multiverse with a loss of 9.68%. However, in the last 12 months, they've been doing well. I actually bought Multiverse, I think 2 years ago or thereabouts. Either 2 years ago or a year ago. Should be 2 years ago. And at the time, Multiverse shares was around 2.4, 2.8 naira. Yes. Yeah, I bought a couple of thousands of units. I think that it should be about 42,900 units, and because of impatience I sold it. If you're in my WhatsApp platform, you must have read my story. I sold it because of impatience, and of course it wasn't giving me the gain I was expecting at the point in time, and I sold everything. And when I sold everything, I checked some months later, maybe approximately 1 year later, the price of Multiverse share had moved to about 18 point something percent. So you can imagine, what loss I actually sustained, even though not, directly, but indirectly. Imagine how much I would have made. And now Multiverse has declined to 11.20%. Even at this point, I would have still made a lot of profit. Imagine from 2.8 to 11.20. That's a lot of money, actually. So there's a lot of money in the stock market if you do not know yet, especially if you are yet to start your journey. And then we have Suno losing 6.25%. So let's move further as I begin to wrap up with this. So this is Friday 21st, and here we have the summary for that particular week. So the summary shows you the number one, the company at the number one position on the different categories. Okay, so for top traders, First Bank is actually number one, was actually number one with 24 billion naira. So from that entire week, and then Fidelity Bank with 13 billion, GTB with 3 billion, and so on. And then on the top gainers, can you imagine that in a week Champion gained 20.68%? Meaning if you invested about 1 million naira that week, you would have made over 200,000 naira. That's what it simply means. So the stock market is so powerful. And then Champs also gained 20.62% in that particular week. That is a lot of money. John Holt 20.28% in that week, and then Veritas 19.75% in that week, and lastly Unity Bank 11.89% in that week. So these are some of the statistics that you need to pay attention to in order to be able to identify viable stocks to buy. And here we have the losers with Name on top of the list, and of course Fidelity as the fifth losers or top losers. So let's go to the following week, Monday 24th. So this is Monday 24th, wrapping up the last week of the month of June. Okay, so again we have First Bank with 13 billion naira, Better Glass with 2 billion, and then Stanbic IBTC with 713 million. Then we have Set with 10%, VFD Group. Oh wow, VFD came out, although not entirely from the loss. Remember, it was VFD that sustained about 79% loss, and now they are just rising up again now with 9.85%. John Oates 9.58%. And then now losers, Interbrew, Deep Capital, Dow Communications, like that. So let's go to Tuesday. Let's go to Tuesday 25th. All right. So GT Bank with 2 billion as number one on the top traders. MTN with 642 million naira, and then Transcorp with 591 million naira. And then Okomo tops the list of the gainers with 10%, and then John Oates with 9.79%. Then Cornell PLC with 9.43%. All right. Now, if I were to ask you which of these three gainers is doing best among these three, which of them is actually doing best? I mean, with respect to this analysis, there are many other factors, I understand, but with respect to this analysis, it is actually John Holt. Why? You do not just consider the fact that it is number 2 here with 9.79%, but in the last 12 months, John Holt shareholders have gained 201.92%. It simply means if you invested a million naira in John Holt a year ago, by now you should have made over 2 million naira profit, making a total of over 3 million naira in your portfolio balance. So can you imagine that now? This is exceptional. This is exceptional. So the stock market is very, very powerful. And then we have Oando here losing 9.75% on top of the list of the losers. And then University Press, Academic Press follows with 9.09 and then 8% respectively. So let's go to Wednesday. I'm trying to rush because there are a few things I really want to share with you in the end of this analysis. There are a few things I want to share with you. So ensure to stick with me. All right, so Access Holdings realized 852 million naira, GTB with 609 million naira, and then MTN with 468 million naira. So here we have C Warehouse with 10% gain, Oando with 10%, and then Veritas with 9.09%. So among all the gainers here, which of them do you think is performing best? It is Veritas Capital Assurance PLC, actually with 357.14% in the last 12 months. That's amazing. Of course, there are other factors to consider. So here we have Set losing 10%, Cornerstone 8.64%, and then Tantalizers with 4.17%. So let's go to Thursday as we begin to wrap up, and then I'm going to be sharing the tips that I promised with you. So again, as you can see, GT Bank topping with 3 billion, Julius Berger with 942 million naira, and then MTN with 906 million naira. So here with the gainers, we have Curtis PLC, Seplat, and Lasaco respectively. And then on the losers, we have Dow Communications, Cornell PLC, and then MTN. So in as much as Dow Communication is losing 8.93% here, they've actually gained 155% in the last 12 months, and that is, quite impressive. All right, so we move on to Friday as we wrap up. So this is Friday 28th. So Guinness tops the list with 3 billion naira, and then Transcorp with 2 billion, and then MTN follows with 924 million naira. Then United Capital with 9.96% as number one on the top gainers. Lasaco with 9.91%, C Warehouse with 9.66%, and then we have the losers, Jais, Cavatin, Regency, Alliance respectively. Okay, so let's wrap up with this, and then I'll share those tips with you. So this is a summary for the last week of the month of June 2024. So First Bank came again. So can you see that the previous week First Bank topped the chart on the top traders, and now again with 14 billion naira in the last week of June. And then we have Guaranty Trust Bank with 6 billion, Guinness with 4 billion, MTN Nigeria with 3 billion, and then Transcorp with 3 billion naira. And then on the list of the top gainers, you can imagine Seawares gaining 38.26% for that week. So imagine that you are a trader and then you bought Seawares for that week. Maybe because of course there are different strategy for day trading. Day trading does not necessarily mean you buy today and sell today. Yes, if you are very strategic, you can do that. You can buy today and sell today, but then you need volume to be able to realize something substantial. Okay, how do I mean? If you invested say 1 million naira on a particular day as a day trader, and then that stock increases by 10%, for instance, it simply means you have gained 100,000 naira. So when you sell your shares, of course there will be some stock brokerage fee, commissions, and all of that. Maybe give and take, you would have realized say about 80 to 90,000 naira, okay, as your profit for that particular day trading with 1 million naira. Okay, so let's assume that you are a more conservative trader, okay, now, and you decide to trade for say a week. You place the trade on Monday and then you waited till Friday to sell. So imagine that you bought Seawares on Monday, okay, of that last week of June, and then you sold on Friday, and then it increased by 38.26%. It simply means you would have made at least 380,000 naira if you placed a trade of 1 million naira. Of course, 30% of 1 million naira is 300,000 naira. So can you imagine making 300k in just 1 week as a trader? That is a lot of money actually. Not so many persons earn up to 300,000 per month. Yes, many people do not earn up to that per month. So imagine making that in a week. That's really amazing. But there are a lot of factors to consider for you to jump in as a day trader. Okay, that's why as a beginner, if you're a beginner, start with long-term investment. As you begin to improve in your knowledge about investing in the stock market, then you can consider venturing into day trading so that you can make faster returns. This is so amazing. And of course, you don't need to have a lot of money to day trade. I'm only saying this because the higher the volume, the more significant your return. So imagine, let's consider two traders. One person trading with 1 million naira on Monday to cash out on Friday, and then another person trading with 100,000 naira to cash out on Friday. Now, if both of them invest in Seawares, the guy trading with 1 million naira will realize over 380,000 naira in his profit, but the guy trading with 100,000 naira will only realize about 38k. And if you are holding 38k, it will look as though it's not significant. But the truth is that they are the same. They are both 38.26%, or rather 38%, as the case may be. But the difference is that one is so significant in volume. The guy investing 1 million naira and gaining over 300k will be happier, in as much as both of them gain the same percentage, but the value in figure, they are not the same. That is why you must learn how to build your portfolio over time so that you can begin to reap the reward. And here we have United Capital with 21.56%. The list here is Africa Prudential with 17.99%. If you gain 17.99% in a week, I can categorically assure you that you did well. Because there are some stocks that in the whole year their performance is 17.99% in the whole year. So I mean, this is something to really consider. And here we have Champion losing 12.50, Jais losing 10, and so on. But then let me also quickly say this: in the stock market, these are some of the tips I want you to go take home. In the stock market, it is a game of winning and losing, but you must be very strategic enough such that your wins will be more than your losses. Okay, your wins will be more than your losses. So even if you suffer a setback of 12.50% this week, it is not enough to give up. Because if you had an investment of 1 million naira and you suffer a loss of 12.50%, 12.50% of a million naira is over 120,000 naira. Imagine losing 120k in a week. But then by the following week, imagine gaining, say, like in the case of Seawares, over 30%. So the focus is that your stock value will keep going higher. I mean, your profit will keep going higher, higher than it declines. So even if you make a loss of 5%, at least the next day or the next 2 days, you should be able to gain, say, 10, 15%, and so on. But you may not be able to really, identify stocks that will be able to do well if you do not solicit the support or the guidance of an expert. All right. So if you are watching this video for the first time, of course, I have a WhatsApp community of investors where I guide my students on how to spot, identify highly profitable stocks and shares with 50% profit and above. Okay. The last time some of my students, I recommended a particular stock to them, and for me personally, in 4 weeks I realized about 68% profit from that stock. In just 4 weeks, 68% profit. I want you to use your mind. Imagine if I probably invested $1 million in that stock. 68% of $1 million is over 600,000 naira. Over 600,000 naira. So imagine if you also invested in that particular stock. So it takes professional guidance to be able to spot stocks like that. All right. Then let me also drop this. Lastly, the banks are coming up with their public offer and rights issue. Okay, so if you are a new investor, you can jump in, because public offer and rights issue usually come at a discount. So if the company share sells for, say, 40 naira per unit, they can decide to give the public offer for, say, 35 naira per unit. Can you imagine that? So it simply means they are giving you a discount. Why? They want to encourage you to come in. And of course, the strategy is that they want to use investors to raise their capital base and pay CBN off so that they can focus on their business and make profit. Okay, so this is an advantage for the banks, and it's also an advantage for new investors, and of course for old investors. All right, remember I said they are evergreen stocks. There are many evergreen stocks, but time will not permit me to list them for you. But the banking sector is a sector with stocks that are evergreen, because I mean, you can imagine the amount of profit that banks make in Nigeria. Quarterly they make billions. So you can imagine what that would be like for their shareholders. That's why some of the high dividend stocks in the Nigerian stock exchange market, they are banking sector stocks. For instance, Zenith Bank, which other bank now? GT Bank, UBA. I mean, these guys pay quite a good amount of money for dividend, and dividend is a share of the profit of the company that is paid to their shareholders, maybe quarterly or biannually or annually. Okay, so these are some tips you must consider if you are a potential investor, you are a new investor, maybe about to start your journey, or you just started. Okay, but if you want to make rapid returns like my students, then be ready to join my WhatsApp community. I'm going to leave a link in the description of this video. Click on that link to join my WhatsApp community. Okay, or you can type in the comment section below community. Just type community, and then I will know that you have an interest to join my WhatsApp community. I'll drop the link with you in the reply box so that you can join immediately. So have you gotten value so far from this stock market analysis? If truly you are sincere that you have gotten value, why not smash on the subscribe button right now? Of course, encourage this channel to grow, and then click on the notification bell, turn it on so that you'll be able to get notified when next I post a valuable video like this. If you have any question, you can drop it in the comment section. Of course, I'll see them and I'll respond to them. And if you're in my WhatsApp community, you can come to my DM, ask your questions. I'll be willing to respond to them. Okay, so I'll see you in my next stock market analysis.